With podcasting, it gets this, I don't want to say stigma, but because of there is a Joe Rogan, there's these, that it has to be this huge thing. And it doesn't. You can get 5 people listening and that's all that matters. And that's what it does.
People are like, well, Jesse, who am I going to reach? Who am I going to talk to? Who wants to listen to me? I'm like, well, find that person. Think of what that person looks like. Try to get as micro detailed, individual as possible. And you give them a name. And I guarantee that one individual, there's thousands like them. And that's your tribe. These are people that will buy any product. They will download your ebook. They will follow you to your book signing. They will get on your webinar. And because I've seen it in real time. I've helped people develop this business to where not only you're the authority in that realm, but now you have a fan base, a consuming fan base. How do I monetize, Jesse? Well, I tell people, like, if you're working with me, I don't want you to decide between groceries and podcasting. I want to make sure that we're doing such a good job that the show and the cost of doing business is taken care of.
Welcome to the Studio 321 podcast, powered by Brightway, the Steve Trout Agency. We're sitting down with real estate pros, insurance nerds, mortgage masterminds, and local legends who are making moves on the Space Coast. Hosted by the best insurance crew in the 321. At Studio 321, it's all about community, real connections, and sharing a few laughs along the way. Strap in, let's launch into today's episode. Today on the Studio 321 podcast, we've got Jesse Hall in the house. Jesse is a longtime Space Coast local, licensed in real estate since 2002, and currently an associate with LPT Realty, focusing on commercial and investment properties across Florida. He's also the owner of Space Coast Podcast and the creative force behind some exciting new studio projects we're going to talk about today. Outside of real estate and podcasting, Jesse is deeply involved in the local community, supporting events like the Ocean Reef Beach Festival, serving on the board for the Echo Pro Surf Series, and backing Grind for Life. He's a surfer, skater, golfer, former punk band bass player, and nice. Someone who used to get paid to watch whales.
Yep.
This one's going to be fun. Let's get into it.
That's interesting.
Like coming in fresh, just me and you.
Yeah.
I just learned a lot.
Very interesting.
What's up, man? Welcome to the studio.
Love it. Thank you so much for bringing me to Studio 321. Oh, hey, Jason.
Hi.
Before we got started, I was saying it's a little intimidating having like a professional podcaster in the house,
By professional, that means I just talk a lot more than everybody else.
You're good at talking.
I've gotten, about 800 episodes.
Oh, wow.
Cumulatively
That's
over
awesome,
the years.
Man.
Yeah,
congrats.
Well, we've been established since 2018. And the whole reason for Space Coast Podcasts was because I was alluding to your other associates here that I just met, and they're very nice, and thank you so much for having me. The point was to help other businesses leverage.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing.
Right.
You're lifting everybody else up through just having the means and the tools and being able to say, hey, it's okay to share what you guys have going on
100%.
in my studio. And so giving that platform, letting people express themselves and why they do what they do, and not be limited to. And I tell people all the time, with podcasting, it's long form. You're not trying to squeeze in your marketing budget, which we all, are try to, limit, and then we try to expand and get some new things, and hopefully it works, and hopefully there's an immediate ROI, so we can be like, yes, that works. Continue doing that. Don't stop doing that. So when you're looking at all your marketing budget, you're saying, okay, I got 90 days. I got a 90-day commitment, right, with a magazine or traditional media, TV, radio. It's hard to leverage up. I mean, if you look at TV nowadays, even on like a Roku, even like the Netflix and everything else that you're watching, it's not your local barber, it's not the local florist on there. It's these huge media, or national companies that can leverage those means, right? Podcast allows a local. It's again a smaller budget. When you're looking at, say, print, a 90-day commitment, you're looking at maybe a quarter-page ad, for instance. That's going to be $400 or $500 a month. Okay, times the 3 months minimum commitment. I know most print is like 6 months because that's ideally what you have in your budget to get legs, right? Because anything needs 10, 12 touches, whether it's direct mail, whether it's print or radio or anything else. People need to see you over and over and over again to get you top of mind, right?
Of course.
We all know that. So I just said, listen, instead of going to, because I made that mistake, I was on WMMB with the Space Coast Real Estate Show, founded by my late friend, Rob, Kristen, bless your heart, buddy. And we were on WMMB. If you're not familiar, it's a local sports talk. Bill Mick Live, right? Talk radio, whatever, iHeart Media. But we had the worst slot. We'd go in on a Friday afternoon, record our show. For $250 an hour, mind you, and this is when we started back in 2016, that was all our budget. Luckily, we had sponsors, but we tried to do a weekly show. Only for then, iHeart, with all their syndication, had very limited windows. So it was like a Sunday morning. And I kid people, like we were competing with Jesus and hangovers.
Yeah.
Like who's listening to us? And I'll to offer that, with the other little anecdotal thing, we had cool sponsors, moving companies, inspection companies, all natural partners, all people with a lot of value. Right, and inspection can save you on a win mitt if if it's up to date and up to code and all the things. You guys know that insurance. Yeah. We could not give away a $400 inspection. Next caller, any caller, you call now, you get the free inspection. We had a moving company. Move your kids. It's dads and grads. Kids are going away to college. $500 credit. Move one way. So if you're going to Tallahassee or Gainesville, whatever, crickets. I'm like, and I just looked at it, I'm like, we can't even give anything away
because nobody's listening.
Wow. So they're like, no, our metrics say there's at least 10,000 people. I'm like, a radio on in a garage where nobody's at is not a metric.
Right.
That's not a listener. That's a radio on. And again,
or your dogs.
And I don't know how they get these metrics. I don't know how they measure. Like, are they pinging every single AM radio dial?
Exactly.
And that goes to show, is your message, like say for instance, you get on traditional radio, you buy slots, you buy times, you can't share it and it's on demand. If your audience does not listen to your plug, your 30-second, $150 plug, right, that you're paying into for, a limited package, unless that person's not hitting their kid in the back seat, not distracted, not yelling at the driver next to them, if they're absolutely in tune, listening to your message, God bless you.
Right.
But how many times?
And they're actually listening at that time that it's on.
Amen.
Yeah.
So there goes marketing dollars that maybe not be effective. Print advertising. They may look at through it once, but now the next month's here, what do people do with their magazine?
Trash.
Unless they're hoarding it or lining their birdcage with it, it's probably going in the trash. And so I again, Space Coast Podcast, I'm in this workspace with some friends. They just created it. And I look at this room, I'm like, this is perfect. I could put some, like a green screen and we'll do pictures and headshots and
Some
video.
value to it, yeah, for sure.
But it was like 9 by 10. And I took my camera up against the wall. I'm like, I can't even get a full picture with my lens wide out. I'm like, maybe it won't work as a photo or video studio, but maybe a podcast studio. And I know a thing or two about audio, and I'm gonna so I started there and I put in 2 mics, very, very
simple.
Yeah, super simple, super bootstrapped. But it started there in 2018. Since then, I've had 4 or 5 now, different places. Each place I improve, get better, growing the brand, getting more customers and now longtime clients. And the production, has been swelling and what we utilize and how we are actually, creating content has metamorphosed to something I feel like is pretty darn competitive. Yeah. We go live. YouTube,
go live.
Yeah. So that's you're getting real engagement. That's really powerful, actually.
Yeah, I bet.
And but YouTube is a big hit for live, Facebook Live, Twitch. We could also even go to Rumble and TikTok Live. I've been experimenting with now.
I feel like you would be so for that.
Oh, I would love live. Yeah.
Live is great because
you get the real
Well, yeah, I mean,
Reaction.
and most people who watch lives, I mean, most people do. Like, I know your kids are probably watching somebody play a video game on Twitch, and it's like, you see
Yeah,
the
not my kid.
gamer, and then you see the gameplay behind them, and it's like a split, scene where they have, you watch both things happen at the same time. And you have these influencer like gamers just gaming.
And they watch each other
And
just
they
live
watch each other game.
play?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
But this is how people are
kinda do that.
consuming media now.
Yeah.
I do that.
Right. So, but we do that. Not really the video game part, but at least going live, because in that chat, everybody's just, this is great, this is dumb, this is great, whatever, and everybody's just chatting. And a lot of people refer to chat. Let me know what you know. Press 1 if you like it. Press 2 if you don't. Whatever. And so it's just really.
Does anybody like
it's
comment
real
something
time.
negative where you're like, oh, I have to comment to this? Like, I have to say
No,
that?
no.
And then you
haters
guys are
gonna-
obviously like
Haters.
repurposing that later, right? So if they don't catch it live, you're still putting it
Yeah,
out.
put it up
Yeah.
on YouTube. Yeah.
100%. So nowadays,
Are
especially
you polishing it, or are you just releasing it the way it was live?
once it's live, it's live. I don't
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
it down. I mean, and then that way.
later, you don't edit and then post it later.
Right. So, I mean, even though at the same time there is a file being generated, an MP4 of everything as well. So not only are we streaming, but it's also being recorded. So then I can take that recorded part, right? But I'm not going to delete the live stream from Facebook. But Facebook, I think, just purged a bunch of our live stuff anyway. But that recorded file, then I take into my video editor. Then I clean it up, maybe raise the volume of a speaker or whatever else, or maybe tone down the volume of a
Yeah, I
speaker if
gotcha.
there's like a big outburst, somebody comes real into the mic and shouts or gets excited, and so you have that big spike. When you're looking at the audio, you could definitely tell lower and higher parts. So sometimes there's just like some features where you just kind of blanket it with a really quick effect that just levels everything out. Sometimes you have to actually get in there into the micros of it, and
Good God.
yeah, it can be tedious. But my point is, we have that ability to refine the recorded part. And again, not everybody's comfortable with streaming.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, please don't get any ideas.
What about live?
I would love to see
come on.
you guys do live. You guys are live capable, trust me. Of all the people I would endorse, it's you guys. Oh yeah, Steve has a nice setup here. I totally endorse this for live. And again, you're able to get reactions in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are people, and it's almost like a good litmus test. Like, are people reacting the way I expect them to react? Right? Am I getting the level of applause? Am I getting the people who are really into what we have to share about?
Yeah, very true.
Maybe it's other insurance companies. Maybe it's other Brightway offices. That are looking at you guys as the authority. So you're being lifted up, and people are using you and maybe your content. Maybe they're repurposing it for their own benefit. Right?
Yeah.
So
That sounds good.
So in real time, you could even invite. Maybe you have this, I don't know, a big fish, right, that you've been trying to reel in, and they see you go live, and maybe it's like one of their objections. And it's like, but what about this? And they post anonymously or something.
See, I would love that.
And they'd be like anonymously like, but what about if you have like 20,000 square feet of? And you're like, yes. How can we help you? And then maybe that guy would be like, okay, well, he's asking something specific about a zoning or whatever else, or some other kind of coverage, and you're able to help them in real time. Well, you just solve somebody's answer again with
Yeah, I
them
can
being a
see
little
us
bit
doing something
with
like
them
that.
being distanced from it, so they have a little bit of anonymity, but they also just received a question that's been burning in them to make the next move to work do business with you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So there's this, and that's just one way, one little benefit that could drum up more business, answer a few questions, right? And again, if you're doing say a live stream just about frequently asked questions, we're just going to go through them, guys. You could read it on our website all day long, but we're just going to do this, right? And then you have,
great idea.
what about if I can bundle my boat and golf cart and car? Can I do that? Like, if that's a common frequently asked question, then address it, give the answer. Now you have a whole episode of all these frequently asked questions. Well, you also have a lot of small segments. Each question becomes a segment that you could repurpose
Absolutely.
in
You
your
got
stories,
reels for days,
and shorts.
Now we're digging in.
Right.
Yeah.
Dropping some nuggets.
Yeah.
Pick up what you like, leave the rest behind, right? So that's just the power of having something long form. I also tell people, well, how else could I use podcasts? Well, what about like a deep dive into your executives, your C-suite guys, your CFO, your CEO, all these people who are doing all these crazy things behind the scenes? Well, give them a little spotlight, you know, instead of just a static about us, and then it's like boring CV, PDF link, okay, you know, a bio generated by some PR consultant, you know, to make it all polished and look. But what if we got those people in a room and have them discuss what that business, what their purpose is in that role, in that organization, and what's proud about it, you know, what brings them joy, what's their why. You could get do all these deep dives. So it's not just a bio of 3 very, probably not generic paragraphs, but highly thought, like, you know, probably created by, again, some PR person with, you know, all these abilities. And yeah, you're going to look great on paper, but who are you? Yeah. If I pick up a phone and I know you from a video and I recognize your voice, I'm like, Marie, the CFO? Hi, how are you? You know, it's right now, you've already gained their trust. They already want to talk to you. They've learned your personality. They know you're like golfing. Like, hey, can I invite you to come play golf? I got some questions. Before you know it, you're already building relationships that you don't even see in real time. But now that content is out there and people are consuming it, and now they just feel like, I'm a friend of these guys. Like this is an outfit that I could go party with. I'm going to invite them on my boat. You know, we're going to do all kinds of things together.
No, absolutely. So like we started this because we're in a relationship business.
I know.
And podcasting, in my opinion, is like such a great way to build a relationship, whether it's with our guests, with our viewers. I mean, really, like it's really helped us in a short amount of time. Really establish some really great relationships.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's like, even though we're ultra focused locally here,
right?
You know, like I don't think we have much viewership outside of the county, but that's kind of was my goal. Like this is where we do business, and we did this to grow business, and it's working for us. And I would encourage anybody thinking about getting into podcasting, you know what I mean, to do it. Like, just jump in. Like, I was super nervous about it. No idea what I was doing.
You know,
did a ton. I watched YouTube video after YouTube video on the equipment I needed and all that stuff, and just kind of educated myself and did it. But like, honestly, like, had I known about you sooner, I probably would have solved a lot of my problems. You know what I mean?
I'm available to consult. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah.
No, but you did really well, and I can definitely see your budget was nice and deep. Yeah. Most people don't have, they have the bootstrap. And so if anybody is talking about, you know, maybe starting something at home, not everybody needs a professional studio. I'll admit that.
Yeah.
Especially if, you know, you're talking about something that maybe only, you know,
it's a niche.
A very hyper niche, right? Something hyper local, like, we love cats of Brevard. Join my cat club. You know, you probably don't need to spend, you know, what it would take for you to get a nicely, highly polished thing when all you're doing is petting a kitty and talking about your favorite, you know, whiskers or whatever food you feed them, you know, and it's like, my kitty's named this, it's a calico, and if you want to meet up, I'm going to be at this, you know, cat park. It's a sour analogy. I really apologize. I almost want to take it back. A dog park would be best. So if you're talking about dogs, okay, nobody talks about their cats. Everybody talks about their dogs. So again, you know, what food you bring them, what's your favorite dog park, and again, you may be talking to, you know, only a handful of people,
or maybe that's all it's geared towards.
But that's all you. Well, again, you're not, you know, you're not in the business of like selling a lot of merch. You're not in the business of inviting them to a webinar where then you could, you know, upsell them on something else. You're not inviting them to do anything except to like come to my dog and yoga, you know, meet up. We're just going to bring our dogs and have yoga with our dogs. You know, if it's something very small, most of what I do, most of the content I create is just for the people of Brevard. Oh, you don't have so many downloads. I'm like, well, that's a metric if I'm trying to reach like a global audience. I'm not a Joe Rogan.
Correct.
I'm not talking on these things that can happen, you know, that have a universal appeal.
Right.
I'm talking about if you want to come to Brevard County and eat, then you listen to Space Coast Eats.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's, you know, it doesn't apply to everybody. So ignore metrics, get on. And I tell people this all the time. There's somebody, you have a built-in audience. Everybody does. And they're at home and they're just thinking, man, if somebody just answered these questions, or if I just met somebody just like me that I could express how I feel, you know, I can't be the only person that loves to make quilts in this town. Like I wish there was somebody talking quilts.
Well, that's the key about podcasting. If you have an interest in it,
I know
there is
That's all that
thousands
matters.
of other people that do too. And so like even if you're like a business that if you want to reach a national audience, I don't know a better way.
right.
You know what I mean? Like you can grow a national audience, whether it's you're passionate about barbecue, you're
Right.
passionate about surfing, you want to talk sports.
Exactly.
There's people out there that want to listen.
Right.
I think with podcasting, at least in my opinion, that it gets this, I don't want to say stigma, but because of there is a Joe Rogan, there's these, Brianna Chicken Fries, she does a big podcast for Barstool, that it has to be this huge thing.
Right.
And it doesn't.
doesn't.
You can get 5 people listening and that's all that matters. And that's what it does.
Yeah, and there's like guys like Valuetainment with PBD and a lot of things that we all probably consume generally when we're talking about these big macro things. But if I'm going to go to Nashville and I want, and maybe like for instance, somebody's like me, I don't drink, I don't need to go to the bars. Take me on like a historical tour, show me where music lives, and recording studios where some of the best music has been recorded. Show me that. And if I can listen to somebody talk about just like a walking tour to some really cool monuments and other features and venues that I
to hang out with Tarek.
really want to, really want to see and dive into, then that's a perfect podcast
sure.
for that person. And if that's their audience are people who are visiting and they're tourists and they're coming in and they just want this particular experience, talk about it, give them all the pointers and and follow up with your social media with like pictures of each one and or maybe even, taking a selfie with the owner of said studio or said guitar shop or whatever else, and again, those people exist. And I kind of share that this little anecdote with most of my people. Like, well, Jesse, who am I going to reach? Who am I going to talk to? Who wants to listen to me? And I'm like, well, find that person. Close your eyes, and in your mind's eye,
It's hard to imagine
what do they
it,
look
but there's
for?
millions and millions of people out there
There are
that want to consume the content.
And if you just do this little exercise and think of what that person looks like, what they eat every day, what kind of books are they reading, really like try to get as micro detailed individual as possible, and you give them a name, and I guarantee that one individual there's thousands like them, and if you speak to that person, you're going to be speaking to many more people than you think and that's your tribe. These are people that will buy any product. They will download your ebook. They will follow you to your book signing. They will get on your webinar.
It's so true.
And because I've seen it in real time. I've helped people develop this business to where not only are you the authority in that realm, but now you have a fan base, a consuming fan base. How do I monetize, Jesse? Well, I tell people, like, if you're working with me, I don't want you to decide between groceries and podcasting. I want to make sure that we're doing such a good job that the show and the cost of doing business is taken care of.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe you're actually getting,
Coming out a little
maybe
green.
you're in the black, maybe, and then maybe you're monetizing again other things. Maybe you have a Patreon. Maybe you have some merch. Maybe you're, again, selling seats for an in-person meetup. And there's all kinds of ways to monetize. So when you're thinking about that clientele and who you're trying to reach, be very specific. Because I guarantee there's 10,000 clones, and these people are dedicated. They will perk up. They'll get chills because you're speaking their language. They think nobody's going to care about quilting. Nobody's going to care about my dog and what I'm feeding it and the life of rescues. But there are, and there's tons of them. And you could bootstrap. Back to my earlier point, you could bootstrap everything with getting a quality mic, an audio interface or something similar, your laptop, and you could really go to work. I just tell people it's really not always about the audio that you choose right away, but it's about your condition. Make sure there's no crying babies in the background. Make sure if you are doing dog podcast that the dog's not barking, interrupting it, and little things like that could just elevate the audio experience. Because at the end of the day, podcasting fundamentally is audio.
Yeah.
Right. At its core,
Yeah.
it is getting into a lot of video. I tell people all the time, consider using video. But even if it's your phone on a little tripod, going live, at least something's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And because people, again, they are consuming that. And now with captions, they don't have to have the volume up. They could just, read what it's about. And again, it's on demand.
Yeah, like for us, video is really important because we were going to be cutting this into reels and putting it on Facebook and Instagram and all that because I felt like that was where we could really highlight our guests.
I think the visual part of podcasting, at least for me as a listener, is more important because the visuals stimulate me more. Where maybe somebody you listen to in your car all the time, I prefer to watch it. And even though it's somebody sitting in a chair talking, I prefer to watch them talk than listen, I swear.
I think for me, I listen first. And then if it's like an episode where I'm like, wow, I need to go back and listen to that again, I'll go home and watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
I usually don't watch it first. It's usually listen first.
Yeah.
There is a caveat. And even Joe Rogan messes this up. Because he'll say, I remember one distinct thing, and I use this as an anecdote as well. Be somebody who is thinking about your listeners. Be an advocate for the listening bunch, okay? Because your listeners, of course, again, you're going to be a lot more accessible if you're distributed, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's free. People don't have to look down. If they're driving, again, consuming on audio is important. So be that advocate for your listeners. Which means if Elon Musk's smoking a little doobie on air and everybody knew it, and you don't say that, you're just like laughing in the background, or if you say, oh, that's a cool shirt. Oh, you look very pretty today. And you're not disclosing what's going on, you have to be that advocate. You'd be like, okay, he has a cool shirt, and this is what I mean. He's got a Santa graphic, and it says this and that, and you have to be that. So you have to tell the story. You have to say why it is cool instead of like, oh, cool shirt.
Just relying on visual. I see. What you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So even though there's that video audience, be that advocate for the listener. Talk through the features or whatever else that you're discussing, even if it's like a piece of paper with a graph. Explain what that graph is. Okay, so the tall bar here on the left of how many people are consuming podcasts is a lot higher than this other bar, okay, to the right of it, which shows people who listen to AM radio.
Yeah.
So, so again, even if you're a craft like
with your audio,
be descriptive, tell the story, and explain why it's cool, explain why it's fun. We explain, what they did with their hair and makeup that makes them, look, that much more visually stunning today.
Yeah.
Be the advocate for the listener. Okay, so I'm just.
No, that's a great.
Yeah,
point.
that's a.
I really try to drop some nuggets because again, people just don't understand. And again, one thing I want to share, going back, you can bootstrap it, buy once, cry once, which means just get a good mic, get a good audio interface, and get some good software. Yeah. And you could do some things at home. But again, if you want, like, for me, I could accommodate up to like 5 people in a studio. You could accommodate you plus 3. And so if you want to ever bring in guests, for your podcast, you're probably going to need to employ, a professional podcast situation. Yeah. But again, sometimes it could just grow into that, right? So as you scale from being by yourself in a laptop and you want, to increase your production level, you're getting a lot more audience. They're buying your, whatever you're selling, whether it's an ebook or your fun little sweater for your dog. They're buying it. Now you've got some revenue coming in. Now you could explore what scaling looks like to maybe employ a studio or just come out the gate with just getting some high production right away, which is kind of the clients that I help with. They want something nice, professional out the gate, and that's what we do. Just get them in there. All you got to do is talk with me and probably with you as well. You're not like, all right, well now you have to edit your show.
There's no doubt, like, the hardest part of podcasting is post-production.
It's all post.
It's all post. Yeah. I mean, this is the fun stuff, right? Like doing this.
Yeah. This is where the energy's happening.
Pre-production and all that is the fun, easy part, really. When post-production I had to outsource it because there's just no way. Like we're insurance agents for a living. We're not editors.
Right.
And I thought we would be able to get there because there's so many AI tools out there and stuff, but it's way off. It's not, you really need somebody, you need a human pushing the buttons and stuff for that. Like I learned quickly, like I was out of my league.
Yeah. I mean, there are some, and AI is coming together, but to upload like 45 minutes or an hour of show and expect AI to edit it,
Yeah.
not only modulate the voices and some of the volumes of everybody, but also put in those like little teasers, intro, outro music. There's so many different other features, that go into, so multiple layers when you're editing. My timeline has probably 3 or 4 lines of, just the original video and audio, but then also the any kind of like moving graphic or static graphic, anything else, even like the subscribe buttons, and all the other things. If I'm, editing for YouTube specific, then you have to put on all those other features and create something with, I would say for every probably half-hour video is an hour of editing. Because that's audio and video. Yeah. So not only where the audio goes, but also where you're uploading that video. And if it's native to YouTube and you're uploading it to YouTube, having those fun little buttons, subscribe, share, comment, vernacular that's specific to YouTube. If it's Facebook, putting the Facebook logo or, the thumbs up, like, share, maybe even visit our group, and other calls to action. You put those into the video as well. So there's a lot of things that the back end, and then usually it's a very lonely sport. It's just you and your editing, and you're just like, man, that was a great time last week. We had a good time, talk for an hour, but now I got to listen back sometimes up to like 3 times. Just to make sure you get all the things, because, we have to upload that graphic that they talked about, because he wanted to, put in that little picture when we talked about that. So you have to find that time when you're talking about it that's relevant, put in the picture. Anyway, it can become a lot, depending on what your audience expects of you, and really, how much of a budget you have for your editor. Yeah. Sometimes it's a little bit easier. I have clients that expect a very premium, very polished product, and then some that they're not really invested into their YouTube. They only have a couple subscribers, or maybe they just don't know how it all works. But they really are focused on just the audio component, right? Because for me, you're going to get video regardless. I'm going to press record on the video, and you're going to get either an unedited version, highly edited version, or I have a premium package where I control your whole YouTube channel. So I'm like an in-house agency, right? So you don't have to worry about anything, So again, I just meet people where they're at. Not every business has an in-house marketing, with their own editors and stuff. So they hire me.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Awesome. Yeah.
I want to pivot a little bit, dude.
Okay.
I want to get to know Jesse a little bit better.
Business.
Yeah, enough business, man.
We'll circle back.
So where are you from, dude?
Originally in North Miami.
Okay.
Born at a place called North Shore Hospital in Miami Shores, Florida.
All right. What brought you to the Space Coast?
Surf.
Awesome.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a great, when it breaks, there's a really fun surf scene down in South Beach and Hallover and a couple other breaks, Dania Pier and some, and then start venturing up north to like Deerfield. But then my buddies and I got like our cars, and then by sophomore year we were in our cars, and we're making road trips like going more and more north, just like Reef Road and other places in Palm Beach County and Juneau Pier, and then we're like, okay, let's go even further. Then you get Stewart Rocks and Gentian Beach and Hutchinson Island, and you get to learn all these cool places. We're like, wow, this is amazing. Because it's such a far departure than South Florida, where all the oceanfront is like condos. And so we're like finding like natural Florida, like Martin County, Port St. Lucie County, Indian River County, Sebastian Inlet, or Shangri-La. And then and I learned about India-Atlantic and Satellite Beach and Cocoa Beach, and of course, it was hard. We're growing up in the '90s. Of course, Kelly Slater, the Hobgood brothers, were so many influences on all the, everything surfing that you could consume. Had all these like Central Florida surfers. So we're like, so I was already coming up here a bunch, and I got to know the people, and I already had like a favorite, taco place, Cantina Dos Amigos, and we were staying at the Quality Suites, which is now the DoubleTree, and everything was like easy. I'm like, man, of all the places I've surfed up and down the coast, this is a cool place. And after senior year, when I applied to a couple schools, but nobody accepted me.
Oh, man.
So I didn't go to university.
Okay.
I'm like, well, I'm not going to go to BCC as in Broward Community. I'm going to go to BCC as in Brevard Community College. So I went to BCC, That lasted a semester. Because I was surfing so much that '95 season.
I grew up surfing.
Bro, we had Ivan. I mean, I had such a good tan, and I was a surf. I mean, I didn't do my labs, so I had like a C- in math. Like at my first, I failed. It was a miserable experience. You know, as far as thinking I was, you know, living that, you know, college.
Yeah, college isn't for everybody.
Extended, you know, that extended education. But I was 17 when I moved up here in '95 and got a place and had a roommate from high school. So we both came up here. And yeah, we started to make a life.
That's awesome.
I was bussing tables at Chili's at night, going to school during the day, being woken up by my classmates. Hey, you got to wake up, because I was closing a restaurant at 2 in the morning, and I'm at class at like 7:30. Like you know, it wasn't congruent. I was more focused now on paying my bills.
Yeah.
Right. Being a student, paying my bills. I'm 17. I'm like, I think I turned 18 like 2 weeks into school, and so by the end of it, I was like, all right, something's got to change, and so I got a massage license. I went to massage school for 6 months, and this is like the very beginning of '96 now, and spent 6 months in massage school, washing dishes at Chart House. After 6 months in the dish pit, they finally elevated me to the salad bar, where I get to toss the Caesar salad and maintain all the
clean area,
all the garde manger, all the, you know, the caviar and everything else, and make sure the dressings were full, you know. But yeah, so Chart House put me through massage school. Great people, met some pro surfers, so I was like right in my like domain. I'm like, oh, this is what I came up to do. So now I'm like, you know, I'm living the life, you know, and but you know, restaurants were always a safe haven for me, and till, you know, till this day, I love the restaurant business. That's why I love, you know, my podcast Space Coast Eats, because I could just share so much. And fine dining, I've had some really cool experiences. Learned my fine dining chops down at Windsor, down in Vero Beach, very exclusive. Hung out with Robert Jr.
RFK?
No, not RFK, but Robert. Little Bobby, who passed away. He passed away in a plane crash. Yeah, him, his wife, and the wife's I think sister or friend. That was tragic, because he was, you know, he was good people, and he would just swim at the beach club in the morning, and I'd be like, "Hey, sir, can I help you with anything?" And that was great. I met royalty, served all kinds of royalty at Windsor, and some big money, old money. Oh yeah. So anyway, got my chops, got to learn wine, got to learn elevated cuisine. You know, just little things like what's a beurre blanc, you know, what's a demi-glace, what's a, you know, and all these like different terms as far as food and cuisine. Again, learning wine. I was young, I was impressionable, and you know, when I'm seeing these golf carts that look like Rolls-Royce golf carts, right, with the emblems and Bentley branded, you know, golf carts, I'm like looking at these people like, wow, like this is how the other half lives, you know. And I was so impressed. I got the golf bug. You know, we hosted the Office Depot Father Son Challenge for the last year. They up to the fifth year when I was there back in like 98, 99, and from then I went to the Bahamas, but I got to meet like Robert Trench Jones Jr. and all these other like golfers, and I was just like over the top, you know, with the whole culture of it all. I'm like, I like country clubs. The money's great. You get a flat rate plus automatic percentage, and because I was working doubles, like I was
you were bringing in the money. Yeah, you're raking it in.
I was 18, 19.
I was going to say at 18, 19.
I'm hanging out with like celebrities and you know, big money and old money and, you know, royalty. So the whole thing was pretty outstanding. And again, I'm commuting from Indialantic to Windsor, which is essentially Orchid Island. And that means I'm passing over the inlet twice a day. I had my surfboard in my cars most days. I was becoming local, you know, at the inlet and just surfing I did a lot of surfing. Anyway, great times. I came up here because of surfing, and I've pretty much been here. I did move back down south in '99 because all my other friends were. Everybody had graduated 4 years. I had a massage license, and they're like, "We're going back home," So we go to Hollywood, and I'm sharing a home with 4 other guys, and I'm working between the Pier 66 property doing massage during the day and the Delano Hotel on South Beach at night. So I'm commuting a lot, but I'm just doing full-time massage. When I first got down there, I worked at a PF Chang's down there and immediately applied for a massage position on a cruise ship. So I worked the last 4 months of '99 into the new year, Y2K. I'm in the middle of the Atlantic, right? At that time, Coco Cay was a very small, primitive island with Australian pines, and it was just beach and trees. Not so much today. We could talk about that on the Peer Pressure Podcast. But we had an awesome experience. It was like a fleet of the Royal Caribbean, like southeastern, Royal Caribbean fleet, like probably 5 boats out there, and they're lighting fireworks off, and it was a really cool memory. And then probably 3 days afterwards, my 4 months was up.
Oh, dang.
And I got discharged from the boat, and I said goodbye to all my new friends.
Aww.
Yeah, it was hard.
So you never went back? You can't, or?
I didn't want another contract on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
I was doing 9-10 bodies a day. And they all looked like me and Steve and Jason. Because all these little... No, what I'm saying is they were not petite.
Yeah.
Okay? I was essentially like massaging a football team. Because all these petite, like little therapists that I was working the spa with, they didn't want the big guys. So anybody with I want deep tissue. Oh, Jesse.
Yeah.
Oh, and again.
So men don't. So you were massaging men.
Everybody. A body's a body's a body's a body's a body, but a body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if people had more of a preference.
Well, they can. Is there? I mean, I'll tell you one story. I lost a Harrison Ford massage. Harrison Ford, my one of the. I mean, I've had a lot of celebrity experiences at Delano. One of them was so I'm like, oh God. And my co-therapist was with me, and we got these Arabian-style tents right by the pool where we do the massage. And he comes up to us. I'm like, don't you take Indiana from me. Like, I'm nudging her. I'm like, it's my turn. Like, it's on rotation. I'm like, oh, I get Indiana Jones. Come on, Dr. Jones. Like, I'm so excited. Han Solo. And he walks up, and he's like, I'm interested in massage. I'm like, that's great news. I'm available. And she goes, do you prefer male or female?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Because, of course, he goes with his little smirk and goes, what do you think? And
I could hear that, too.
And he goes, and she takes him up to, he preferred a in-room massage. So she, it worked out because she lived in Kauai, and he was training with helicopters in Kauai, and he spends a lot of time out there. So they got along. I would have just been, and I don't get starstruck. But I probably would have been geeking out so Han.
Yeah, it's like, what do you say when it's an idol?
That Princess Leia scene, No, but you keep professional things aside. But yeah, so people can preference. Yeah. Harrison Ford did. Darn it.
That's just because it was asked and he was on the spot.
Yeah, he was on the spot, and she was she was a looker. So of course he's like, well, I got this dud. I got this dud, or I got this cute girl, So So anyway, those were some good times. I had a great massage career, but like I said, after doing 9-10 bodies a day, I'd have I'm 21. I'd have my forearms and my wrists in ice buckets.
Yeah,
and it's 6 days on.
Yeah,
you don't get a day off on the cruise ship. You have maybe one day, but again, you're in port at Miami, and all I want to do is get some good food. That's not ship food. I said ship food. And I just want to go to Bayside, go to Bubba Gump Shrimp Factory or something. And that's where a time when a lot of crew gets off the boat. They make those international calls at the call cafe. This is again 99 before cell phones. So everybody would rush the internet cafe, get their international calling cards and sit there for an hour or two while the boat was getting provisions on and off. And again, embarking was going on. So we'd have 4 or 5 hours of just play, when we're in port. Again, I wouldn't call it a day off. We were just getting provisions, so getting more, I don't know, deodorant, maybe toothpaste.
Yeah, doing all the things you got to do.
All the things, right? And so yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of time, like free time. I mean, there was just a lot of work. But again, I
Constantly
made good
grinding.
money.
Yeah.
I made really good money. I was really good in sales, and a part of the cruise ship experience is
pushing the product.
you got to push a product. So for every $100 of massage revenue I'm creating, I also have to meet a 30% retail quota. So that means if I'm doing 10 $100 services, that's $1,000. So I have to have 300 in retail sales to meet a quota. Well, I was up in like 80 to 10, like 80 to 100.
Nice.
8 out of $10 were retail. By the time I was like my fourth month there on board, I kind of learned it. I had a spiel. I had a great massage technique. I was refined. I was in my prime. I was getting $100 handshakes. It was great. And then, so again, after the cruise ship for 4 months, then I was at the Delano with the celebrities and Pier 6 for the boat show. And I had, between Miami and Fort Lauderdale, working in some beautiful properties, doing massage, hanging out, I was spoiled. I really put myself.
Yeah, but you worked hard for it.
Of course I did.
Yeah.
But I was able to interject myself into some really cool, high-paying positions and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Well, fast forward, real estate? How'd you get into real estate?
So in 2001, I lost my pops, my stepdad, in a boating accident. Yeah, it was horrible. And I stayed with my mom. My dad was building a cool lifestyle. He was a hard worker. He put me to work early. I learned work ethic very early. Spending my summers in the back of a 52-foot trailer, loading it with beds, because that was his business, hotel motel liquidation. What does that mean? We take all the old furniture out of a hotel before they renovate the hotel and put in new furniture. So it was from carpets to drapes to everything else, the bedding, the beds, the bed frames, the headboards, the armoires, the dressers, the nightstands, the lamps, the lamp shades, the pictures, like everything.
Jeez.
We would take it all out, put in trucks, bring it to a warehouse in Hollywood, sell it to little mom and pop little motels.
Oh, okay.
Mostly the Patels. A lot of Indian owned, smaller motels. But they would buy all that stuff because we were doing resorts. We were doing Disney. We were doing the whole Fort Lauderdale Strip. We were doing South Beach. I was making deliveries in high school to nightclubs that I didn't even know. Like this is like before like the rave. When South Beach was still kind of like it was still very seedy. It was really just like drug addicts and Cuban immigrants and maybe a couple retirees. It was not a sexy place. But as in the early 90s, as South Beach was getting elevated, we were bringing furniture down to like these new coffee places and other cool places. I remember actually going to a place in downtown Fort Lauderdale, and I'm like, that's our lamp. Yeah. I remember delivering these, and you just don't know what you're delivering in the middle of the day. Then you go there at night. It's like, oh, that's what they did with the. So that was my upbringing, and so worked very, very hard. By the time my dad passed in 2001, he had an investment property on Sanibel and a primary residence. If anybody knows Sanibel, it's one of the most pristine islands. Great fishing, beautiful sand. Lee County, just excellent. Captiva Island, you had people of residence, some celebs, including like Sylvester Stallone and John Mellencamp and a couple other people. And so very exclusive, very, and that's where, so I moved there, got into another country club over there called Sanctuary. That's another story for another time. But going to Sanibel and going to the West Coast where there's no waves, but being with my mom and sister, and I'm moving with them, and just again, my dad had just recently invested into a mortgage company, and so I'm like, well, since I'm over here, I'll get licensed in mortgage. I don't want to do massage anymore. I'm like burnt out. Got the mortgage license.
Oh wow!
And my mom's like, you're not going to like that. You don't want to push pictures or push papers and do all those things. Like I could see you as more real estate. So I immediately did that as well. So at one time, I had a real estate license, a mortgage broker license, and my massage license all in Florida. I'm a baby. I'm not even 23.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So I kind of did overwhelm, but I walk into the mortgage office. I'm like, yeah, I'm here for a position. My dad invested. They're like, yeah, that's not how it works. So I was like, Mom, they're not going to let me work. She's like, yeah, just go do real estate. Go do real estate. You're going to be much happier. I can see you doing that. And so, yeah. And that's nearly 25 years later.
Gee.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
And then the crash happened and I'm in like the ground zero.
Right.
We're talking Cape Coral. When you see The Big Short and they go to Lee County and they're interviewing the mortgage brokers, like I was hanging out with those guys and they're like, yeah, I totally just over leveraged a stripper. That's the movie.
That's the line.
That's the movie. It wasn't like they weren't exploited strippers in Lee County in 03 and 04, but there was also over leveraged retirees and seniors.
Everybody.
I mean, if you could fog a mirror, this was a joke. You could get a mortgage, and it was these
Everybody
adjustable
was
rates.
affected by that
If you could
crisis in one
fog
way or
a
Yeah,
another.
yeah. So you had these adjustable rate mortgages, which were detrimental because people forgot that in 3 to 5 years, depending on how adjustable it is and the terms, that could go from 3.5 or whatever that bottom
17.
rate. There was no limit.
Yeah.
Because you're not agreeing to a limit. You're agreeing to the 3 to 5, which again is great if you're just going to hold that mortgage for 3 to 5 years. But people forget after that 5th year, anything could happen. And everything did, including 05 and 06. And most people refer to the Great Recession as, it was an 08, 09 thing. No, that's when Wall Street felt the effects, which affected Main Street. Before that, there were places like Titusville, Lee County, where I was at, where the bottom just fell underneath. I lost 2 mentors from suicide.
Wow.
Oh
One was found hanging in one of his investment properties. Another one on the toilet of drug overdose or something. It was horrible.
That crisis affected a lot of people.
Goodness.
Yeah,
In a lot of different ways.
But I was like, ooh, like I don't want that fate. Maybe real estate isn't. So I took a hiatus. In 05, I moved back here, and I've been here ever since. So again, beyond 95 to 98-ish here, then went back to South Florida, did the cruise ship, did all my massage, a lot of massage stuff, really lived it up in a really hot time in South Beach. Won't get into that. That's another show. But all in all, it just taught me a whole lot. Like not only could I do a lot of different things and inject myself into different industries and maybe follow some trends.
Yeah.
Although I was kind of like a trendsetter, because most people were just like, I prefer a female, until it started becoming trendy to get shiatsu and deep tissue and sports massage. And I was that guy. And then my business exploded. Everybody was requesting me. And that's, again, how I was so busy. I was one of the probably highest paid people on that ship because of all the gratuities and all the sales I was doing with retail and service. I was probably producing 10,000 a week just in massage and retail.
Wow.
Yeah. It wasn't hard,
awesome.
It wasn't hard. Because you're just captive. Like you're not going nowhere. Room and board are taken care of. So I was able to save some money. Went to Europe with some friends. That's another story for another time. Did 30 days backpacking. Yeah, that was fun, and that was 2000. And so lived a very fun life when I was young. Took myself some places when my family wasn't didn't have means. If I wanted anything, I had to work for it. And so that's just been my whole. That's just been my MO for since
Are
as
you
far
having
as I can
fun
remember.
now?
I have the most fun now.
Yeah.
I've been
It kind of brings me, I want to talk about, you did have kind of a tragedy.
a couple different tragedies, but yeah.
And
seems like you.
so I met you, I don't know, we've probably known each other now 7 or 8 years.
It's been a minute, man.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Met at a bunch of different marketing events, kind of gotten to know each other over the years a little bit. And, obviously follow each other on Facebook and all that stuff. And I remember waking up one day and everybody saying, pray for Jesse and all this. And I definitely want to touch on that, man, because I will say, I notice a difference in pre-accident Jesse and post-accident Jesse. I will say when I run into you these days, and even just you're so positive, man. You just have a different outlook on life, I feel like. Not that you were negative before or whatever, but there's definitely
I was an asshole, man.
There's definitely a different Jesse today than before that.
Right.
So I kind of want to take us to that, man. What happened? How did that affect you? Where how are you doing today with it?
It's almost so tragic.
Yeah.
Because for 8 years or so, and just a little bit of pretext. So there was a while that I had no license because I had a DUI, and it was a blessing. Don't feel bad.
I don't.
And it wasn't even for a DUI. It was for something else because I had my brights on and he didn't like my eyes, and I passed this field sobriety the test, and I'm like, now what? He's like, I still don't like your eyes. I'm like, that's what happens when you surf with contacts. And anyway, one thing led to another. I was taken off by FHP, and because I wasn't going to blow. Like I already did the dance. I already walked the line. Like, let me get on with my life. And so when you deny a breathalyzer, it's a 1-year revoke license. So after about 24 hours in Ivy's Iron Lodge, which he refers to it as, I was without a car and a license for a year, got on my bike. And I biked around Brevard County for 5 years with no vehicle.
Oh my
I was strictly by bike. So that random guy like on A1A, like pedaling with all of
That was
his,
you?
Yeah, that was me with my laptop and all my things. And I would would grocery shop on a bike. Like there was nowhere I wouldn't go. Saw my probation officer on my bike. Like if I had to be somewhere, it was by bike. And that meant in the middle of the rain. That meant on a cold day like today. That meant however hot it gets in Florida. For 5 years, I was without and so I was like, hey, Brevard County, please be gentle. I had a couple interactions with vehicles. I'll just put it that way. One time it was an aggressive driver. He didn't like me being on the road. Beeped a couple 100 feet, behind me. And there was a tool on the side of his trailer. And the trailer got close enough. The tool on the trailer took my elbow, dragged my elbow forward, turned my handlebars, and I tumbled into the street. Luckily, it was right in front of the Crown Plaza that we all know. There's Brevard County Rescue right there. So with this guy's actions, it perked up a firefighter who was just like, just doing random chores. And he heard this guy honking. He saw me honking, me honking, boom. Psh. So there was immediate response. They pulled a truck out and got me. And that was my first incident. And then, so after 5 years of pedaling and everything else, I got into triathlons, got into, I was a retail manager for a triathlon store. So I'm doing riding and running and swimming and holding all these clinics and doing all these things. And then I got into race announcing, where I had to get audio equipment and lug it all around the state of Florida and even the Bahamas. And that was a whole nother career that took me all kinds of places.
It's like literally done it.
I know. I've been busy. So
The Forrest Gump of jobs.
Right.
5 years on a bike, no car, then transitioning right into like becoming a triathlete as modest. And trust me, I was a modest athlete. But it put some wear and tear on my joints and so forth. And my right hip started really aggravating me, and I stopped running, and I just, started dating my ex-wife, and I went from like 180, February 12, had just ran my first half marathon, Miami half marathon in Miami, and I was in top shape, buck 80, trim, boy. With a bat. I'm like, no, woman, get away. I was not to toot my own horn, but there was a lot of female
Interest. Okay, move on.
See, she doesn't like that part. Jason loves that part. I know it.
I'm just hanging.
Yeah, I know. So I gained weight, and I inflated to like a 250 because I wasn't running no more, but I still had the eating habits, right? I was used to burning 4,000 and eating 2,500, which kept me nice and trim. But when you're still consuming even 2,500 and only burning, 1,500, so now I'm no longer in a calorie deficit. Now I have like a calorie bank. And anyway, got out of shape. And all that wear and tear on my hip from skateboarding over the years to then triathlons and so forth and lots of running, I started to get this like really bad pain. And I got, it took 7 years of fighting insurance and doctors, and they all want to, put meds. They want to do physical therapy, but they don't touch on what they're, what really needed to happen, which was a hip replacement. So at the age of 44 in 2022, I finally got a hip replacement after playing that game. I already lost my wife.
Crap.
Yeah, she left me. She's like, I can't deal with your overweight. I'm kidding. There was other issues, but essentially, I was 70 pounds overweight since we left, and it affected everything, my libido and everything. And it was just adult topics. Kids, hide your ears. Yeah. And so it just affected every part of our marriage. And I was like, I was self-medicating with alcohol. Everything just to because I was living in pain. And finally got my hip replacement. And I remember that March 31st, I went in. It took one day to do a hip replacement, total hip. The cup in the pelvis and the full-on, out of the femur, that titanium rod. And so I'm like bionic. And so I rehabbed for maybe 60 more days. And by the end of May, I'm on my bike. And I'm going out there again, and I'm going to rebuild myself. And I had all these high hopes. And I was doing this thing I call it the Pineda Punisher. Where I live in Satellite, I would go down Jackson to A1A, and then to the start of Pineda, right from A1A, and I would go all the way out where they were constructing Costco and Pangea Park. And I would do this big loop through Pangea Park and then come back down Pineda. Jesse, why Pineda? Because Pineda has a lot of undulation. Mm-hmm. I could get a lot of cardio by having those
elevation.
Little bit of hills and getting elevation where it's hard to get elevation. Mm-hmm. Like if you go to Inlet and back, you actually lose elevation because it goes below sea level in parts of Melbourne Beach. Anyway, so I was doing that loop and it looked like a fish hook, literally mm-hmm. and I loved it. And I was going to do a Pineda Punisher kind of ride, starting at Villain Coffee. And I had all these plans because, I come from a training, a retail store manager background where mm-hmm. It's so much more fun with people. And I like riding with people, and don't get upset when there's other cyclists riding in a group because that's how we protect ourselves. Don't be upset about that. Anyway, plus you go faster with a group. Yeah. So, and that looks great on your cycling and fitness apps. You're I averaged 28 today. It's you couldn't have done that without 40 other people helping you. And so I was really feeling good this morning, and it was July 28th, 2022, maybe 4 months of, after probably 6 months post replacement, but 4 months of actually getting back on the bike after all my mm-hmm. PT was done and everything else. And I just remember oh man, I feel good. I feel strong. And then I got hit from behind by a guy who didn't see me, even though everybody else honked at me. Even if you don't like a cyclist on the road, I prefer bam, 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 and moving over and sparing my life than I'm just not going to see this guy. Oh, what was that? And I rolled over the hood, over the windshield, and on the floor. And I have this nice little scar. Oh, so I had a helmet on. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here today. But the helmet, I think, on impact is what caused a scar. Because mm-hmm. The helmet was still on me, and next thing I know, I'm my eyes are open up, blinking, you see the shutter of a camera, when you like a movie. Yeah. And I just remember just a puddle of blood, and the lights of a emergency vehicle reflecting, and then I pass out, and then I remember they put me on the gurney, put me in the thing, and then somewhere going down A1A, I remember a little. Vivid, but very short, vivid moments where I just kind of gained a little consciousness. And I just remember them taking the shears right up my jersey, even though it was a full zip jersey that's $100. I could have just done this. But I see the shears going up. I'm I don't have time for this. And I pass back out. Next thing I know, I'm in the, getting out of the ambulance. And that was another traumatic, okay, I'm awake kind of moment. And it turned out that beyond my knuckles being wide open. I had contusions and everything else on my elbows. My knees were both wide open, Nat Geo, patella. It was everything. Half my lower left hand leg was just the skin was just sheared right off. Yeah, broken pelvis, fractured T12 vertebrae. A lot of scrapes. I mean, I was ran through it, bro.
What hit you? What kind of?
A Dodge Durango, and I won't mention his name, but I know his name. It's permanently etched in my thing because I was like, you took that one morning away from me.
Yeah.
I was on mile 23 going over South Patrick, right where the base is, that entrance. I was almost on my ride. 23 miles out of 25. I do in that morning I was on the road at 5. Okay. And I was trying to beat the sun up, which I was. And because that's how I like to start my day. Before anybody's awake, I get mine. I'm going to get mine before you get yours. And that was always my kind of mantra. And because nobody's going to take that away from me. No one's going to take my first hour where it's just me and the wind and the sound of my own breath and me just,
23 miles in an hour?
25 in about 75 minutes.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I was booking, but I mean, I'm also a guy who like used to race again. In triathlons. I was a beast on a bike, but that morning, some guy decided to not look. I still think on the record it's malicious, because I had everything. I had the biggest, brightest lights, and not like a regular pattern that looks like anything else. Not a flashing light, not a traffic device, nothing. Looks like the pattern. My blinker was like, it was a regular pattern. We do that on purpose so that we could be seen and differentiated between all the other blinky things on the road. You can't see this big light. I mean, and trust me, if he was that close, like even if he was looking down for a moment, everything around him in the cab of that vehicle would have been red. And so that's why I think it was malicious. And I'm just like, because everybody else would see me. And there's very little traffic on Pineda at 5 a.m. A couple dump trucks, but they, even if again you give me the one finger salute and a honk,
move on with your life.
and you hate me there, just don't take my life, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to find that magic hour, and so so that morning, I wasn't so fortunate, and I've been on my bike since, but definitely not as strong. Now I have, lots of permanent things that I'll never get my health back. I mean, I was probably feeling like a 96 out of 100 that morning after being in such pain for 8 years. I had 4 months of bliss.
Wow.
And
Someone took that away from you.
Yeah.
What's some of the good that came out of it? Like post tragedy, man, the biggest thing that stuck out to me was the way the community really rallied around you. Like I was, you know what I mean? I was actually touched by that. Like I remember thinking like, man, Jesse's got a lot of friends. You know what I mean?
I had no idea. So it definitely warmed my heart because I didn't start a GoFundMe, but one was created and people turned out and showed a lot of love, which really helped because I wasn't insured. I mean, you don't have bicycle insurance.
Yeah.
And so, and unfortunately, I didn't have underinsured motorist coverage, which I would highly recommend that.
We were just
We literally just
created a video on that yesterday in the office about how important uninsured motorists is.
Yeah. So, I mean, luckily, my own car insurance kicked in because Progressive, he had minimum 10 and 10. And so I got 16 and I had to fight for the 6 because they gave me a check of $10,000 so quick.
They gave me your paper right away.
And they wanted me to get that release. I saw you had to sign the release because screw them. Screw Progressive. Your guy took something from me and I'm not gonna satisfy that. I want that guy to be uninsurable. I mean, I think if you put somebody, whether it's a pedestrian or cyclist, in the hospital, a year, take away your license. Yeah. You're a danger. Yeah. I mean, I'm taking up this much, like as wide as my handlebars are, as wide as my shoulder on a 2-lane highway, and I'm yielding all the way to the right, and you still find me, bitch, get the hell out. Like, because I didn't see him. Let me just take you back. Pineda, you go up, you could see a mile ahead of you, and you go down, and you go up, and you could see a mile ahead of you, and you go down. The whole time, you could see what's coming up miles ahead of you, including a little blinky, and that blinky gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you still can't avoid it. I'm calling malicious. I'm calling screw you, flat out liar. And apparently, he fled, but he kept going. Oh, somebody just rolled over my hood. I should ignore that. But apparently, according to the police report, there was a witness, and I think the guy was like, "Oh, I should probably turn around after Like I think his guilty conscience turned him around, not him. I think his intention was to teach me a lesson. Lesson learned. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did learn that that this community is great, and when you give back and you participate and you show up, that people will remember that. And I'm so thankful because I was there. I was cheering people on at 7 o'clock in the morning doing a 5K, 6 o'clock in the morning doing a triathlon. So I announced for the community. I took people, on my shoulders, and I help people get on, feel comfortable on the road and get their, cycling prowess up, to where they're very predictable. That's the biggest thing as a cyclist. Be predictable. Don't be one of these people like one-handing it with your phone, swerving all over the place. Be in the moment. Be aware. Take off anything that clouds your hearing, because that's your only defense if there's something coming from behind. Okay.
But you didn't hear anything.
No,
like you couldn't.
Because again, there was no braking. He didn't try to avoid me. He didn't look up and go, "Oh crap." Again, malicious intent.
Yeah.
I think he ran me over. And so that's the whole reason why, because I gave them every opportunity to avoid me. But there's just going to be some cowboys out there that think it's their
road.
Yeah.
I think their point to life, or their commitment to the road, or their obligation is to show other people how intolerant they are. And I grew up in South Florida. We had tractors, school buses, horse-drawn carriages. You have everything on the road sharing you. And no, not everybody's going to go the speed you want them to, including school buses, which I hope most people are still yielding for them. City buses, again, that tractor trailer who's, on that rural road in the middle of the state, that we all see, There's equestrian communities where there's people on horseback. Like, there's many people using the road. So give 3 feet, all right? Just give 3 feet. Let the cyclists live. They're not hurting you. And so I just really remember, the community coming together. And again, I give back. I plan on giving back. Like, there's no part of my heart that's closed off where I'm just like a recluse and bitter, and I'm not gonna like I'm still a cheerleader for a lot of people, a lot of businesses, a lot of my friends. I show up, I give thanks and praise when due, and I say my prayers. I become a lot more faith driven, so my relationship with Jesus is a whole lot. And I kind of went back to like self-medicating with alcohol after this whole thing, because I was in a very bad place mentally. I had to wear a thoracic, like cage around my torso to protect that T12. But even that today still gives me some limitations.
Yeah, you'll never be right after
my
that.
left hip now needs to be replaced. They told me when I got my right hip replaced that I was going to need it. But when my pelvis broke, my new hip went through the broken pelvis, and they had to pull it back. Thank you, Dr. Perry. So he was my emergency orthopedic.
Poor guy.
So thankfully they didn't have to replace the hardware, because so I was in traction for like the first 2 days. I spent 7 days in ICU. The first couple of days I was in traction because they were preparing to have to replace my hardware. They were afraid like the titanium got bent, or maybe the cup fell out of the pelvis or whatever. So they put me back together. So now I got 2 big old screws and a big plate holding my pelvis together. So my right hip is, it's real heavy with titanium and precious metals. I'm very bionic on this side. But after favoring this side as I was, rehabbing and so forth, I put a lot more favoritism on the left side. When I got the right side done, they're like, well, good news and bad news. Bad news is both hips need to be replaced. Good news is only one today. But in about 5 years, that left hip's going to need it too. I'm like, okay. Fair enough. But I think, between all that trauma, it accelerated the need for the left one. So now I walk with a pimp limp. That's how I try to make it excusable. I try to elevate my injuries, so it's like, it's a part of my personality. But yeah, so I walk with a limp, and I just very much want just to be pain-free.
I bet.
I live with pain. I have a very intimate relationship with pain, but I'm doing it without alcohol. So 2.5 years, alcohol free.
Awesome. Good job.
I still use like kratom and some cannabis products because they really help. Because I tried ibuprofen and, aspirin,
can't take
Tylenols,
that all the
Advils.
time, yeah.
No, they wreck your gut.
Yeah,
they
your liver,
they wreck your
all
liver.
that
They wreck your kidneys. They're just, and to use them in the way that I need, like morning and night before I go to bed, I just know like I'll have a 20-year liver and then I'm going to be like cirrhosis or some other, liver problem. And I just don't want that. And there's some things that reduce pain and inflammation without, really hard, byproducts. And yeah, because last thing I want to do is like, just try to, for a little bit of pain-free, living to then also spend my 80s like taking a pill for all, for my kidneys or my liver because of how much, over the counter stuff. And so I try to mix in different things. I'm not dependent on anything in particular. And then at the end of the day, I just live in pain. Like there's some days I just won't take anything just because I want to give my body a break. But if I know, for instance, okay, it's going to be a long day, I got to go to an expo or convention or do a lot of networking, I'll take a leave, which promises 12 hours, but you never really get it. Yeah. But yeah, so I medicate. I feel a little bit more responsibly. But yeah, I have a very intimate relationship with pain, and it's just part of my life. But I give my life.
You're a tough
to my Lord and
SOB,
Savior.
man, because I'm telling you, like,
Yeah, for sure.
you are one of the more positive guys nowadays when I run into you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I can just tell, like,
And that's not even me. I'm pissed off. I'm bitter. I'm angry. I get angry. I could tear people's heads off just don't drive with me sometimes. But I'll tell you, by the grace of God, I'm able to still give thanks. I practice gratitude daily. I say my prayers. I give intention where intention is supposed to, be. And I've surrendered. It's not up to me. Yeah. If it was up to me, I probably would have been dead on that road. By the grace of God, I'm not. By my angels above, I'm not. Yeah. Had nothing to do with me. I give all that glory to God, and that's the only reason I'm here. And it's because of my faith, this is my cross that I bear, right? Everybody has a cross. Don't say you don't, even if it's a small one. Some of us have bigger ones. Yeah. At the end of the day, we don't get to choose. We just carry it. And if this is my cross and this is what I need to do in this very small, fraction of time that we have here on earth, and this is the shell that I get to continue through while we're on this plane of existence, then this is what it looks like. And it's going to be dealt with, some pain and some other things. But listen, I look at other people who have lost limbs. I look at other people who are wheelchair bound. I'm still blessed. Don't feel sorry for me. I'm, of all the crosses to bear, it may look ragged and maybe it has some splinters in it, and maybe it looks a little bit off center and it creates me to, walk funny. But I promise you it's not as bad as other people. And for that, all the glory to God. And I'm just my faith has really just gone over the top. And I'm a man. I'm here for Jesus. I'm here for the power of the Holy Spirit. I'm here to share what they have given us and all the blessings that we have every single day that we so take for granted. And I just want to remind people, you are the light. You are full of love. And please find your higher power, no matter what name you give them. But get in touch with that, because there's so much more to this earth when you realize you're not alone and there's other people that need you in this life, and you are a light. You need to shine and hold that light high. And I really hope, if anybody hears anything today, that's all there is to it. Just
it's a great message,
be
Jesse.
a light in the world.
Man, that's a great place to end it right there, man. It really is.
And Jesse's not done. He's got so much more to do.
Yeah, there's some more things. I'm really excited though, because 2026 looks like finally a year where we're going to see some more buyers enter the market. Just for a little plug, got a couple listings coming to the market that I'm excited about. Some are here locally in Brevard County, some other, but again, mostly dealing with lots of big land. development type stuff. So investments. So I'm working with a very small clientele. I'm not really doing a whole lot of residential, but of course, I like to eat too. So sometimes in between the big stuff, I like a little smaller transaction. But certainly, just to give a shout out to the Space Coast Collective at LPT. We have a beautiful office in Cocoa Beach. Kate Flack is the team lead. Thank you so much, Kate. Got that beautiful office now, and we're just excited because I was there yesterday, and we're just that monstrosity that replaced.
Oh, the Westgate?
Yeah. I mean, what a monstrosity. I mean, I saw those guys just like bricking it, I mean, they're getting so tall, and they have the steel structure, which I think is the parking garage. The thing is massive. And if had I been smart, I would have put like a time-lapse camera, above the office, and just to see the progression of that property. I'm sure somebody's doing time-lapse. They have to, right? But certainly that part of the Cocoa Beach is about to get really exciting. And again, new restaurants. This county, what we're doing now. We have Artemis 2 in a couple weeks going up.
Yep.
I am over the top with like aerospace and the space program. If you follow me on Facebook, I'm always posting the launch stuff. Just because
how can people find you? How can they follow your podcast? Name out all the podcasts you're doing.
Well, spacecoastpodcast.com is the website. You find a lot about what we do there. But if you want to follow, I got Space Coast Podcast on LinkedIn, or Jesse Hall on LinkedIn. I have Jesse Hall, Space Coast Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. If you just Googled Space Coast Podcast, I'll come up. Most likely, I pretty much own that search, through keywords and a lot of things over the years. So I'm really easy to find. If you want to find me personally, I recommend J to the his A. Ask me why.
Why?
Okay, thank you. Because when you Google Jesse Hall, I have to compete with a school at the University of Missouri. It's actually called Jesse Hall. So I don't want to compete with a building at the University of Missouri. Yeah. So J to the his A, J to the hizzy if you know me. So that's J, number 2, DAHIZZAY. And that's my handle that I've been using with social media. So J to the his A. I own it. I own the first 4 or 5, like nobody competes with that. So that's why I'm like, don't search Jesse Hall. You're going to find a building. Search J to the his A or Space Coast Podcast. But yeah, Jesse Hall Realtor works as well. I pretty much tried been cornering that. There's not too many of us that are using those 3 words in combination. So,
cool.
But yeah, find me. I'm
awesome,
man.
man.
I love this. I love the talking. I thank you for having me.
No, man, we appreciate you coming on, taking the time, and thank you for your pointers on the podcast and stuff.
Well, I think you may be next to come to my studio.
There we go.
And do something fun.
Absolutely,
a little more off the cuff.
Yeah.
Do it live so he can see what that feels like.
Yeah, we go live.
That could be dangerous.
It could be dangerous. Let loose, But yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man.
Hey, man. Appreciate you, dude. Let's get out of here.
All right.
Awesome. That's a wrap for this episode of the Studio 321 podcast, powered by Brightway, the Steve Trout Agency. We can't thank you enough for being part of our journey. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a friend. Until next time, 3, 2, 1, we're out.